Hey guys, what's up? Today we're going to be talking about Heroes Forge and guilds. Earlier this week there was some discussion within Discord about what was coming for guilds. They had some questions sort of around what guilds could be, how they should act, how you should interact with your members, how people join, how people kind of manage the day-to-day stuff. And so they were taking feedback, but then after they took the feedback, it sounds like they were actually kind of pretty far down the path, and I think they backed off maybe on one item, but there was still some discussion about what they were going to do with the other ones moving forward. So here I'm finishing up one of my little rounds here. Let's pop out of here and let's go take a look at Discord and see what was being talked about. So this is the questionnaire. The questionnaire it was sent out, and they were just sort of soliciting feedback. So let's kind of walk through real quick some of the questions. So, first question: should the guild invitation is based on a apply from member and accept from guildmaster? And so, in that case, that meant that everybody who applied would have to be approved, and that meant there was like no concept of an open guild. Or maybe you're trying to build a guild, maybe you're new to the game and you just want to kind of get some friends to play, or you don't care, you just want to have enough people to play with to enjoy the game. So I suggested having an open invite mode where you could kind of check a box and say, hey, we're willing to accept other members. I think some other people suggested maybe having kind of criteria around that you have to have so much power or so many characters, something, right? That makes it where they have to reach some sort of threshold before they can actually join the guild. So that was the first question. That's pretty standard fare. And this is where things got really interesting, right? So number two, guild member removal. Guildmaster initiates a removal. If his contribution points or rank is high enough, the member is then removed instantly, okay? If the GM contribution points is not enough and the voting is initiated, a guild is not, I'm sorry, if the GM contribution points is not enough, a voting is initiated and guild members must vote too until enough contribution points is summoned and the member is removed. Now this one I didn't like as much. I play Galaxy of Heroes quite extensively. There's a pretty good guild system within that. And I actually work with, I'm one of the leaders in that guild. And so one of the things I would say is that when you are managing a guild, there's a couple problems. One is, just because you're a player doesn't mean you really want to be a GM of a guild. Doesn't mean you want to manage the day-to-day of a guild. If you're managing a guild, you're probably looking at your players' rosters. You're trying to figure out how to conquer content. You're trying to get people to farm up certain characters. Like it's not just playing the game. There's a lot more involved with it, right? Sometimes you'll actually reach out to your players in Discord and say, hey, look, we see you're struggling here, or you're not participating, or you're not kind of meeting the requirements we need to kind of overcome this. And sometimes you have to part ways, right? And so this is a weird situation to put a guild master in where you've worked with a guild member, they're not doing what they need to do, or they're causing trouble, or maybe there's like three or four people who are kind of together and they're just causing all kinds of chaos. So you want to kick the guy out, and kind of move on with your lives. And now you're in this spot where you've got the rest of the guild having a say in it. With really, they don't know what you've talked about maybe in Discord. They don't know the reasons why you've initiated it. So now you got to spend all this time explaining why you're trying to kick somebody, and then actually have it go through. And to me, I think if you're willing to step up and be an officer or be a guild master, I think you should really maintain control of your guild. I didn't like this. I don't like this concept of other people having a vote outside of it. The contribution points is interesting. I can see they're trying to do something different, so I don't want to just make it sound all terrible, but I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And so I kind of outlined my response around that. Their next question was, if a member is not active for X amount of time, removal voting is initiated by the system. Members must still vote, but lower contribution points is required. Again, same vein. I don't like this, right? If somebody's not active and I want to get a new member in, somebody's solicited to come into my guild and they want to participate, and I got somebody who's not logged in a month, I don't really need to have a vote about it. That guy's gone, new guy's in, right? If that guy comes back to play the game, cool. He can go find a new guild and he can go participate with them, or maybe come back to the guild he got kicked out of. I don't feel that that's necessary for any reason. I like the idea that the system kicks it off on some interval, but at the same time, I just, again, I think the GMs need to have control over their guild. So that's that. And then we have elections, and I didn't like this one either. So elections, the election of a new guild master might be proposed in specific conditions, and I don't think this should ever happen. If you've put together and you've spent time and you've put the effort into creating a guild and filling it with people, especially if you went with their first option of having to accept everybody, like it's your guild, right? You should be able to manage it the way you choose. And so Basically, it should never happen. But if you have an issue with the guild lead, okay, so that's sort of what I said. I feel that's just ripe for abuse. Um, Guildmaster resignation. And so this is a case where they said, what happens if a guildmaster resigns? Action by the guildmaster resign. Next in line is promoted to GM. I said, instead of letting a GM just resign, make them do the work, make them promote someone up to GM or to that level, and then they can quit. That way, you don't have any problems with. I don't know. It just seems like you're trusting the system to do something that you should force the GM to do. It's literally probably one or two clicks to say, "This guy is now the new GM. I'm out. See you guys later. I'm off to other pastures." And then the last thing here they had, if a member is expelled or quits a guild, he loses access to guild skills and must learn from scratch in a new guild, loses guild contribution points but keeps his guild tokens. I haven't seen the system they have in place for this yet. I think my response was along the lines of, it would be nice to have maybe the guild skills be tied to the guild. That would incentivize people to want to maybe join your guild because you have skills that other guilds might not. I understand why they're doing it this way. They want you to kind of associate with a guild and stay with a guild for as long as you can, and there'll be like a tangible downside to doing it. I can't say I'm completely against this one. I haven't seen all the systems at play. I don't know exactly what's going to come out once they release it. On paper, I'm less opposed to this one. I guess we'd have to see where it kind of comes from there. And so Wizard had a few other comments. Guild hierarchy is based on contribution points. Guildmaster sets the amount of the Guildmaster gets a set amount on guild creation. All members acquire contribution points by guild activities, quests, raids, whatever. Okay, so there will be no set officers. So I don't like this at all. I think as a guild master, you need help. You need help, if you're out doing something. If again, I don't know how much interactivity Heroes Forge is going to head toward, like a game like Galaxy of Heroes or Marvel Strike Force. Those games, they have a lot of interaction and discussion with the guild itself. It depends on how much they kind of rely on that in this game moving forward. Sometimes you need help, and you don't need just some random guy who happens to spend all of his hours playing the game making decisions. That guy might not even want to make decisions, right? So, not a big fan of sort of this points-based system. It's nice to see the points. I can see where that might be interesting, but I don't know. And then after the discussion here, Wizard kind of went on a kind of a posting spree and kind of outlined some things we just didn't know yet. And so let's see if I can find where he did that. That was over here. Let's see. So we talked a bit about the kick system, things like that. So basically contribution points are incremental. It's currently like reputation. Okay, fair enough. And each player, no matter the level or power, has the same chance of acquiring contribution points. However, more powerful you are, the easier and faster they are to acquire. So okay, I guess. I mean, if a person who's lower level is contributing by running 4 dungeons or 5 dungeons to do something, and a guy at a higher power does more, it's tradition in these games. Obviously, those guys get a bigger reward. That's fine. I don't really have a big issue with that. Guild quests will be cooperative. All players perform the task. Once completed, that reward is claimable for everybody. Quests and rewards will scale with guild level. Okay, fair enough. Seems like standard fare guild stuff. I mentioned does everyone have to complete the quest for the guild to claim it, and he states they are cooperative, so in theory a single member can complete the quest and everybody can claim their reward. So I'm assuming you just wouldn't get as good a reward, right? You would complete your quest, one person does it, it's kind of you get crappy rewards, everybody does it, you get better. So again, based on the games I've played in the past, there's usually a percentage of people, maybe we'll say out of a 50-person guild in the games I play, maybe 40 to 35 are active at any given time. So hopefully they'll kind of cap off the rewards at a threshold. So if the majority or an average number of players completes it, then you get the reward. That would be a nice thing to do. So the final comments. So here they'll decide on the optimized quest, assign different members to different tasks. Some will fight dungeons, some will gather resources, some will kill simple mobs, some will enchant. Possibilities are endless here. I agree, and I think that's why you're going to need officers to go with the GM, right? The GM might be figuring out raids. You got another guy figuring out, okay, what's the effective use of our resources to tackle something like this. So again, I think officers at some point will be needed. Again, just because someone plays a lot doesn't mean that they're officer material or even interested in being an officer. Maybe they just want to play the game and collect cool characters. I mean, in this game, me personally, that's what I like to do. I don't have time to really manage another guild. But I probably played enough where I would be toward the top end of a guild I was in, and so should I be making decisions about that when I just want to collect the next cool new character? I don't know. I struggle with it a bit. The best guilds will exploit members' strong sides and perform better in guild rankings. That's true, and again, I think that takes planning. I think you need officers to accomplish that. So I hope they think about that some more. I hope they reconsider and do add maybe a couple tiers or let the guild specify tiers. I don't know. Guild chat will be added to the current chat. That's a good thing. Most games that get popular in this space will use Discord or Line or some other mechanism for communication. The guild chat's nice for quick one-off communication. I don't think I've seen a game yet where I've really thought the guild chat was super great. Plus, it's just crappy to type on a phone, right? It's just not a good. It's not a good feel. I hope I don't seem too negative on this. I'm excited they're adding this to the game. This isn't the way I would have done the guild system myself, so I should preface with that. Like, I appreciate they're trying to do something different, right? Every game that I'm mentioning does it this sort of similar way. Maybe this is something new and different, and maybe I'll appreciate it for trying, for breaking from the norm. And I don't fault them for that. I think I see some issues with how it may affect the game and how it may make it difficult for people to run guilds, but time will tell, right? And they've seemed very open to taking feedback, and hopefully 10% as we move forward they'll continue to do that. You'll be able to continue even in battle. I don't know what this means. It sounds like maybe we have longer battles coming. I don't know. It's interesting. Guild raids. This is something that's coming. Guild raids will be unlockable by guild level. Total of 5 raids per day. Each member will have 1 free entry per raid. Guild raids will be fixed HP. Once the raid is completed, the reward will be claimable. The reward will be fixed and claimable by all once completed, even if they didn't participate. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on how hard those raids are. That definitely will give something for the guild as a whole to pursue. That's always been something in other games that has been beneficial. Some games punish people based on participation. I go both ways with this. I don't like Galaxy of Heroes' method of doing raids where only the top 5 to 10 places in their current top tier raid get the best rewards. I think that's kind of crappy, especially when you need your lower tier of your guild to be moving up through the ranks. So maybe this is a better way of doing it. Everybody kind of gets access to the same gear. If you're at the top, you're still going to move faster because you have more resources and you're able to perform above the rest of your guildmates. And then finally, the hardest question is when. There's a big smiley face and the easiest answer ever, soon. It sounds like they're working on this really, really hard. Sounds like it will be in the next week or two. Hey, look at that, I got a scroll. If you haven't seen my farming video on how to make the best use of your time and resources, I'll put that up here. You should definitely check that out if you made it this far. But that's it for today, guys. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an insight into what's coming with guilds, what's coming to the game. Hopefully we'll get it sooner than later. I look forward to working with some people in the game to try to conquer some of these new dungeons and seeing what new gear and new loot they throw at us. Hopefully lots of new scrolls and other goodies. But thanks again for watching. Please subscribe, give me a like. Enjoy making the videos, and I look forward to seeing you guys at the next one. Thanks.